I think this is very exciting.
It's definitely a nice adventure, but I wouldn't say it's easy.
Be prepared to be surprised.
This system, to me, is the best format for classroom teaching at the moment.
You think he ever calls the person who wrote that article in the newspaper?
I'm excited that this has been the result of a vision.
I do believe we are one of the world's first schools to have 5 teachers co-teaching in a PYP environment.
The fact that there are now 5 teachers who can have their eyes on one child is nothing but beneficial.
Because the students are interested in what they are learning, they're more engaged and therefore more open to being challenged, more open to being pushed further.
That's what we're really looking for, is kids who are here and want to learn and want to get better.
I don't think education has changed much in the last 150 years. I think it's quite conservative. If you go back 150 years and you look at images, it's pretty much the same. You'll have desks, they might look more modern, but there'll be desks, there'll be a teacher, there'll be 4 walls. The standardized model of education takes the heterogeneous differences that all children are born with, and it feeds them through education and reduces differences, and they come out with standardized outcomes and standardized skills. It meant that every child had the same education and the same outcomes. And that worked for a standardized world that was repetitive and was predictable. But the world we have today is no longer repetitive and it's not predictable.
What's the difference between something that people want to hear or something that people need to hear? Can you give me an example, Sam?
Want is that it's their choice if they want to.
Our new vision is the opposite. Instead of a funnel, it does the opposite. It actually enhances the individual differences that every child has. Every child has different abilities and different talents, and the world today doesn't need standardized people to follow instructions. We don't need more robots. What we need is great human beings.
Your job is to look at the source and think of a way that you could double check the information.
And that's a skill that they need the most. It's the ability to become independent, autonomous, lifelong learners and be motivated and intrinsically motivated to want to learn.
That old model of the student is the empty vessel and it's the teacher's job to kind of fill it with knowledge. Whereas now it's, okay, we're gonna give you the skills that you need to do that, but you're gonna have to push yourself to find the answers.
The co-teaching models that we use have been established and used other places, but not in this setting, not in a PYP classroom area, not with 5 teachers.
And so you can put a smaller group with 1 teacher to give more focused attention while the rest of us handle the others.
How can we bring out those positive things that maybe some of us are seeing or some of us aren't?
We're able to rapidly change the combination of learning groups for students at any time in the day because we have the flexibility of co-teaching.
It's amazing the different perspective that we might have on one child.
They both went off and I gave them a research question. It was how, when, and where are animals mistreated?
As a teacher, it's very easy to fall into, well, this is how I do it, and I know it works pretty well, so I'm gonna keep doing it.
So really what they need is they need more time in their group to just talk.
Yeah. Before I started this year, I really thought I had it figured out. It was my 10th year teaching. I really thought I had a lot of things mastered. What is news?
Something that impacts people.
But reflecting on it, a lot of things that I really thought were the right way, I realized were just my way. Okay, so news is something that people need to hear, something that's important. With this team of people, they've brought me a lot farther than I think I ever could on my own.
They have feedback not from administrators, not from principals, they have the feedback from each other. And that's been very powerful to helping the teachers grow to provide better outcomes for the students.
That aspect of this model happens on every level, whether it's student to student being able to interact with a variety of learning styles and personality, or student to teacher being able to benefit from 5 different teachers, and also teacher to teacher.
Because there's 65 students, they've been able to figure out, okay, how do I work in a group? How do other people work in a group? How does my role change depending on who I'm working with? I feel like it's given the students the opportunity to learn a lot about themselves as learners and as group members.
The move from a distinct classroom to a larger group of 65 students has shown us that we can be more inclusive and more integrated without sacrificing a sense of unity or a sense of belonging or a sense of attachment, which we've been conscious of since the beginning.
I just really like this year, and I've been in ISD for a long time, and I definitely think this year has been my favorite.
We're not piloting or experimenting on children. We're actually bringing together elements of good practice that we've developed over many years at ISD.
I think it's great. I think it's also getting the kids prepared as far as confidence, communication, as they go to the senior school next year.
They are happy, they are learning happily, and that's, I think, the most important part.
I think it works, and I find that I quite like it.
We're not improving because things were wrong. What we're doing is we're building on a great school, and we have so much talent here and depth of human resource potential that can go even further. And one of our strategic goals is to ensure that the education our children get today is still relevant to their needs tomorrow.